business registration number and business name to begin. New here? That's not a problem. Signing up is quick and easy. Just create an account and you'll be on your way to managing your business registration online in minutes. We know these new features will make it easier for you and your business. And this is just the beginning. We're committed to bringing you even more innovations to make doing business in Jamaica smoother than ever. Use auto renewal and auto closure today at orcjamaica.com. At COJ, your success is our priority. Doing business in Jamaica. At COJ, your success is our priority. Doing business in Jamaica just got easier. At the company's Office of Jamaica, we're making it simpler, faster, and easier to manage your business from anywhere. In 2019, we introduced the Electronic Business Registration Form, EBRF, to allow you to reserve and register business and company names online, saving you the trip to our office to do so. Now, we're introducing 2 new features, auto renewal and auto closure. No more paperwork, no more
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you so much for coming. Those of you who are listening to us in all kinds of platforms, thank you so much. There's an echo here. You're going to take that off for me. Whether you're in Jamaica or elsewhere, we're very happy to have you here at the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, which, as you know by now, is called Jamaica's Business Ministry. My Permanent Secretary, good to see you, ma'am. Mrs. Sansa Bennett Templar. For those of you who don't, Al Edwards just run in, all right. For those of you who don't know exactly how the government works and following broadly a Westminster model, the Permanent Secretary is the Chief Operating Officer in the ministry. Therefore, anybody who gets fired, gets hired, gets paid has nothing to do with me. So don't call me, please. The lady is the boss. She sends me out to make speeches, and she says what I must say, and I follow it. So, you know what that means for this morning. But this morning as well, I have with us the Chief Executive Officer of the company's Office of Jamaica, Mrs. Shelley Leon, and I'm really very happy to have her here. I see the Chief Technical Director of the ministry is here, Dr. Franklin. She has two names, but Franklin is the one that sticks in my head. All right. And Miss Lily Claire Bellamy, who heads up the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, and she has a big executive coming here next from Geneva, the head coming here to Jamaica from Geneva next month. Dwayne, we know Dwayne very much. Dwayne is the gentleman who runs our road shows for the MSME. So you see Dwayne everywhere, and he goes ahead of us 2 days, and him sleep overnight, and him get the thing ready. So when his boss and mine arrive, the PS, everything is working well. Wayne knows how this thing works. So, why do I call this? I tell you why. We have 20 agencies in the ministry, and the Prime Minister, with a new mandate from the Jamaican people, received on September 3rd, 2025, in those general elections, Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness has set out a clear plan as a broad and quite detailed objectives he seeks to achieve in his address at his formal swearing-in ceremony at King's House, in Parliament last Thursday, and to his cabinet in our first meeting after the elections, that meeting was yesterday. Efficiency, ease of doing business in Jamaica, and rapid digitization and ramped up use of modern technology are areas of sharp focus for his ministers, ministries, agencies, and of course the boards that we appoint. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is very clear that all these improvements must be delivered by us who work in the government from a deep and visible commitment to serving Jamaicans, and wrapped in that understanding will be empathy and humility. We all must work hard and productively. Everybody knows that I've said since I came to this ministry, and even when I was in Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, which is the Prime Minister's ministry, that if you really don't want to serve, you shouldn't be working in anything I'm involved in. Whether it was at NCB, when we came home, those of you I was writing at the time, still writes, know that Michael and I took on Jamaica, and we decided we're going to serve from the 66 branches we have, and we took the business there. The results were very good. We know that. If the same thing in government, we are, especially in government, because you know what? The people who pay us, every one of you in here, I don't care what you say you are, and how much you think I might be pressurized and come from ordinary place called St. Elizabeth country, and how you're, what do you word them you say? If you, even when you call me sufferer, every one of us in here is so much better than the thousands of Jamaicans we serve. And I make that very clear from the day I came in, that our 20 agencies must operate that way. So, because my business is the business of business, I decided I'd start with the Company Office of Jamaica. This is why the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Jamaica's business ministry, is holding a press conference with a focus on the Companies Office of Jamaica. The Companies Office of Jamaica is one of, as I said, 20 agencies in the ministry, and COJ is a very important institution in our economy. It is the place where businesses are formally created and registered. The COJ is central to business progress in Jamaica, and when the Companies Office of Jamaica works efficiently, it directly encourages investments, strengthens trade and growth in Jamaica. Over the last few years, the COJ has been undergoing important changes to improve service delivery, to modernize its operations, and to support Jamaica's international reputation for strong regulation and good governance. The process, listen to me now, I went to Monroe College, and at Monroe we drink Milo often, so if you don't mind, I'll take a sip of my Milo. You know, I go all over the world and I find it, and I explain to them that although Milo has Nestle brand on it, it's actually a Jamaican product. So the process has not been easy, nor as smooth as we would like. We have heard the lament of many who we need to serve much better. The Companies Office is going through a transition, and it's going through sometimes a tough time, and yet it continues to serve, and very often serve very well. Today I will update you on the progress made, the improvements that are being implemented, and the impact that these changes will have on business in Jamaica and investors locally and internationally. Remember, we have to bring in investors, and when them come, we have to serve them well so that them stay and tell them friends to come to Jamaica. The Companies Office of Jamaica is at the heart of Jamaica's compliance with international financial rules. The work of the COJ, along with other government ministries and agencies, for instance, the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Ministry of Justice, the Bank of Jamaica, and so on, played a vital role in Jamaica being removed from the Financial Action Task Force grey list and later from the European Union list, which was done just before the elections. It is fair to say that the COJ did much of the heavy lifting. I'm not saying anything that's not true. They or legal counsel here, I was constantly on the line with Yvette and with Shelley, and Minister Clark would call me up and say, this we have to get done, and this we have to get done, and the doing was done by Companies Office largely. Now, what does that mean? That means that we are no longer on a grey list. We can now, I know certainly when I travel and go on my business missions, can say, hey, Jamaica is clean. We couldn't, for instance, the EU couldn't send 10 European Union euros, to Jamaica because they weren't allowed to, because we were on the grey list. The grey list originates way back from the OECD, which is start over there. So now people can send not $10, they can send 10 million euros. They can send an amount to invest in Jamaica. It's vital. The Companies Office, you would not know that, but they did a lot of that heavy lifting to get all the documents in place. And it was very important to identify who are beneficial owners, because that's what they were fearful of. You have all kinds of strange people from strange countries that you don't have their names and you can't find them. Well, under our law, which we changed, help working from here with the Minister of Finance through Parliament, make sure that beneficial owners must be identified, a vital part of doing business in the international arena. That credibility strengthens confidence in our economy. Jamaica completed this process in a single coordinated attempt from the 13-point FATF action plan in 2020 to FATF verification in 2024 to the EU delisting in July 2025 without the need for extensions or a second plan. It was better than that. That sounds good for any reader. It was actually better than that. When we were finished at Jamaica House, I remember the lady who was was head of the secretariat coming from Europe said that the way we went about our fixing FATF was so good that they were going to use it as a model for other places. That's kudos to Jamaica. And yes, all the ministries that were involved, but again, a key role played by the Companies Office of Jamaica. COJ's contributions were central to establishing a beneficial ownership registry, which I mentioned. This trust is further reinforced by the foundations of our democracy. That's so important for us. This combination of strong governance and robust regulatory compliance makes Jamaica a safe place to invest, the right place to register a company, grow a business, and confidently engage with the Companies Office of Jamaica. You can send in your money, clean money, send in your money, clean money out, and the banking system takes over, but the first registrant is really the Companies Office of Jamaica. Improvements in the Companies Office of Jamaica. The Grenada Way location is a disaster. Me, the minister, may I tell you, is a disaster. Shelley inherited, so no fair fault. A whole heap of people have been there, and this should have been digitized long time ago, may I tell you. So this is one of the reasons I'm here, to make it clear that we're not going to dodge the bullet. It's not what we want. People sometimes have to line up on the street in Grenada, and we're a government entity and we're the business entity. Unacceptable. So you know who's the CEO? We didn't tell you already. What is CEO? So, the CEO of the ministry, the CEO of the Companies Office, while only beat me up, they do the work. Okay? So they are now in the process of doing a number of things. We have another of our agency. Which one is leaving? Punjab. Cannabis. CLA is going to their new head of. They need place as well. So they're leaving a place, I know, 6,000 or 7,000 square feet in Punjab. We are pressed at Grenada Way. We're going to get that because it's all formatted already. So we'll move some people in there and take the burden off that. Get some more space for customers. Try and keep them out of the sun and the rain and off the street. Just nonsense. But you know, through all that, the results have been improving. Between April and August of this year, we had 35,244 customers. Listen carefully. Last year, same period of time, we had 36,177 customers. In other words, this year we dropped by almost 7% the amount of customers we serve. Normally sounds bad, but there's another set of numbers for you. The transactions this year, that's the period between April and August, have risen to 40,758 transactions, which is a 21% increase over the 33,730 last year. So we have less customers and more, means digitization is happening. People are going online. Are we close to where we want to go? Not even close, because I want people in Dubai and Spain and United States, all 50 states, and I won't be mischievous and say whichever else one become 51, but 50 states is what I know. So anywhere you can come. Are you places that I live in, Sri Lanka or India, can, and now with everything going on, people are looking for near shore to the biggest market in the world. So I want them to go to the company's office side on them computer, register, and the thing with it with charities. Charities is a what's the name? What's the formal name, PS? The same one, Department of Cooperative Charities, and long name should be shorter. So we have the lady who called me from Mandeville yesterday, Dr. Lady, I won't call her name. So she come to the company's office, she go through it, she fill out the form, then she must have to take it to the cooperative society, and then them send her back. She come to company's office, talk to somebody, them tell her something, they go send her back. She come back, call and make an appointment, it must be a week ago or whatever. And the young man who said come at 10 o'clock, him come 2 hours later. May I tell it because, you know something, if me set my appointment and come 2 hours late, them going to complain about the minister no keep time. And I respect people's time. I come from the private sector. You don't keep people waiting. If you come 5 minutes late, you apologize profusely for being late. So the reason why I was in here at that time, because I never set up and them tell me I can't come in yet. You understand that I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm not hiding anything. This is a Jamaica that is intent on serving and being as transparent as we possibly can without giving away state secrets. So, Shelley and I on the line, she knows, PS knows, because they send me, my number is out there, my ex, I'm on there, all the social media, them send me all these things and me get the copy and me say, I've screenshot it off to Shelley. Must tell you though, Shelley respond very quickly. She gets her people. Now, that young man and your staff, I'm coming to meet your staff next week because I want to talk to the staff that this is not acceptable. Not to beat them up on the head, but some of them are young, some of them don't quite understand. When you make an appointment, he may not even have noted it on his phone. So he may even have forgotten. You can't do that. The person was coming from the country. Happens to be a doctor. She go find my number and WhatsApp me and call me. Which is why I put it out. I want to hear. So now, COJ is you can see that where the digitization is working because we're having more transactions with even fewer customers. We want to make sure that we will get down to almost nothing in terms of customers unless they have to really want to come in, and everything must be done online. The backlog in document processing has been a challenge. The targeted effort has already reduced pending documents from 6,440 in August to just 384 in September, and the agency expects to fully clear the backlog by the end of October 2025. When you go there and check, and then I have my number, 3991265. I don't hide it. Nobody bother me. Unless it's true. If it's not true, I say it's not true, go somewhere else. So, and my email is as it is. But you can find me, although you know where to find me. If we don't keep each other accountable, we behave badly. You know, say true. Anyway, I can't tell that story here, P.S. I think I'll keep onto my script. Otherwise, you're going to tell me I'm going to get in trouble. The pre-approval desk, which reviews company incorporation documents before submission, achieve a 90% first-time approval rate. Good. That means what you require must be clear, which is why I want you to work with the charities people. You must design one form that when it is prepared and they take it wherever it must go, they're not taking it anymore, they send it because they should be online. It mustn't come back because They come and say you want this thing, and then they come to your office, and they get three different answers sometimes, because whatever reason. So you're going to design your documents so much, Shelley, that it is very clear. When I was learning to write, as I used to be as a columnist, and when I was learning English in school, I remember Prof saying to me, anything that you write that can have two meanings, change it. You're going to confuse somebody. And if it is a form, Shelley, if you can have more than one meaning, anybody can interpret 500 meanings from the same thing. So you must write it in such a way. You see, you have a lawyer there, so you have Shulette, you're a lawyer too. So you know how you have to write, so it is very prescriptive and clear, and therefore when people fill it up, it's right. So that's what we're working towards. That's part of the empathy we talk about, and being clear. Clear signage, dedicated desks, give them space. We're getting the space in Panjam to make sure we get more space. We have mobile service. They go on the road. They have an office in Montego Bay. They go on the 8 or 9 road shows that we take across the country. All 20 agencies are there, so people get familiar with them. They're not fearful to go into the agencies or call them up. So what are we doing about the space? Relocation of that for the past 2 years. I want to take a little time here for you to understand what happens. I chair the infrastructure committee of cabinet. That means anything over 60 million is going to change. We expect to, I think, a higher number of 100 million. May have changed already. Anything over that figure comes to the infrastructure committee to be reviewed before it goes to cabinet. The procurement process, and I'm saying this, and this is my own assessment of it because I've had to deal with it. And I've made it known, but it's not, what I'm going to say is not official government thinking on policy. I know, for instance, that the Prime Minister has clear intention to make sure the procurement process is revised and it works better because in my view now, this procurement process was written when it was written, everybody who wrote it seemed to believe that everybody in Jamaica was a thief. It was made to, in other words, it was made to halt every single thing and check it 5 times before you could get it done. How are you going to build a country that way? Look at the roads. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. To get them to move. Now, clearly, I have my own properties. I buy properties. I bought properties for NCB when I was there. We set up the branch in Junction. I go to the board. I say to the board, blah, blah, blah about Junction. Them save money, them to borrow money. Actually, in 6 months, it became the best saving branch in the network of NCB. Because them to borrow people money. We in St. Elizabeth, no bother with that. We save our own money and use it. So anyway, they became the biggest deposit-taking branch in the country. But I could set up that branch. Once I go to the board, I get my budget, I'm gone. You try that in a government. Them tell you how. They would probably leave out the PS. But them tell you how the minister thief, how the CEO, have our friend I get contract. Not go say no. But that's what will happen. So when the procurement process was written at a different time, it was written because, first of all, we didn't have so much transparency. And it was written at a time when people seem to have been robbing the government. So now we have gone through that experience. We need to revise it. She wants something done. She has to get the NLA to give evaluation, another person to give evaluation. Then she has to go search. When she search, she has to go back to the NLA and say the rent good. And then you have to hire QS and you have to hire consultant. And God help you 3 years later if you get into the building. It's absolute true. That's what we've, and it's not, and we now have 20 agencies. She'll look for one, Jaseza look for one, Lord. So that has to change. That would be my advocacy, and I believe that the cabinet is going to move in that direction. So COJ has been looking for premises. We kind of found one, then we look at again. because you have to get the right space. You have to plan for some growth. Even though you're digitizing, business is going to grow. So we're almost there, we think, and we're making that small adjustment to with the Panjam space, so we get more space. But we're almost there. We would expect the Grenada Way renovation to be finished by about January 2026. We're going to do it through October. We get those additional space, and the new place when we get there. P.S. What's your thought?
Realistically, Minister?
Yeah.
18 months to 2 years.
You are one of those people who have write the procurement thing.
Until you get it changed, Minister.
So, and then of course, digitization, which is where I'm going to stop. The future of Companies Office of Jamaica is digitally, is digital. Considerable work has been done online and more is on the way. Digitization of forms, 80% of forms and services will be out online by December 2025. Make sure charities and you have one form. Yeah, go check it. Cadian, make a note for me there. Okay, thank you. Phase 1 completed by February 2025. MSME sector, business names, registration, all those things are going to be done. Phase 2, first rollout October 25, as again, annual return status quo, auto approval, instant approval, oh boy, that sounds good. Change of company secretary, auto approval, when you change your company secretary. Online change of registered office, auto approval, second rollout November 2025. Annual returns forms done. May I give you all these in there so you can check. Change documents, change of directors, allotment of new shares, she said by November 2025. E-certificates, QR code certificates for companies will be launched in October, November 2025. COJ will be expanding its current certificate validation online service to include best-in-class technology, ClefKey, app, and QR codes. Well, all those exciting things are coming. COJ Mobile App, that is designing an app for the easy registration that should be launched in early sometime 2026. These technological improvements will reduce in-branch crowding, shorten turnaround times, and make it easier for businesses to comply efficiently. Impact on the changes, well, as you can understand, customer experience will be better, backlogs gone, entrepreneurs in rural areas will serve through mobile access or through online access. Businesses, I want to drop mobile as much as possible, but in country you might still have to have it. Businesses will serve time, Jamaica's international reputation will go up. The Companies Office of Jamaica, one of 20 of our agencies, is looking to making sure that we serve Jamaican entrepreneurs, empower them, driving greater investment from local and international partners, and making Jamaica a place where businesses can thrive with confidence. So, I'm not going to tell you about upcoming missions in Korea and Africa. We can talk about that. Mahiri, you young inside here, you're one of the youngest one. There are others, I think RJR and others might be online.
We have a lot of persons online.
A lot of persons online.
Number,
all right.
Number of houses.
It's your turn. That's my statement.
So do we have any questions for Minister? And
Hello?
if you could give us your name and the media house you're from when you're asking your questions. Any questions?
Yes, PS.
Yes.
So we'll start from a pre-submitted question, which comes from Miss Rodine Williams from the Caribbean Business Exchange. And this goes out, can be answered either by Minister or Miss Shelley Leon. What metrics will be used to measure the success of these technological advancements, cost savings, turnaround time, or user satisfaction?
I think Minister Miss Leon would be the best
She's the
person
boss.
to answer that, yes.
I'm no fool. Why am I going to interfere in something that somebody can do better than me? Go ahead, Shelley. Go ahead, Shelley.
So basically what the COJ will do, we will look at the current online services that we have and how many users are accessing those services. And then we will examine the number of new services that we introduce, and then we will compare how the use of those new services are as against what we had before. So that's what we'll be utilizing.
And then another question to Ms. Leon. How will these upgrades integrate with Jamaica's broader digital economy strategy, for example, with the Tax Administration Jamaica?
All right, so currently the Companies Office of Jamaica, we operate a one-stop shop. So it therefore means that when you are registering a business or you're incorporating a company, that information, the Companies Office feeds information to, for example, tax administration, to the National Housing Trust, to Heart Trust, and to the Ministry of Labor. So therefore, all the registration information, it will be available via an API interface.
All right, do we have any questions in the room? Yes.
Al Edwards, Hour Today.
One moment, Mr. Edwards.
I want a mic. I want a mic for you.
Hello, good morning. Al Edwards, Hour Today. Can you tell me, are you seeing more applications for people to form companies, and what particular sectors are sticking out?
All right, so we definitely have seen a growth in terms of registration of companies and registration of businesses. We have seen an increase in the service industry. We've seen an increase in terms of IT services, general merchandise, construction. So these are some of the areas, some of the growth areas that we see.
I'd just like to add, especially on the ICT portion. When I went to Guyana the first time in October of 2022, we took 6 IT companies with you, and I must tell you honestly, I was shocked to see that there were 6 IT companies paying their own fares, paying their hotels to go on this business mission with me. Well, not 9 months later, when we did a similar business visit to Canada to an expo, primarily for ICT people, we had 16 ICT companies going. Since then, I have been to so many openings. They've invited me to come see what they're doing. I don't want to call the names here. I can't advertise them, but they're doing amazing. One company is doing all the advertisement and the creation for Maggie soup across the Caribbean. They have a kitchen that then bring down fancy celebrities and them cooking them kitchen. You have no idea of some of the things that are going on here, and all that is part of an IT venture. Entrepreneurs in construction, we're trying to get them in fast enough to say, if you're starting a business, come in and talk to us and set up your company. It's better off. Some of the construction companies I'm talking to do and say, no, you're class 1. What you want to take on, those foreign construction companies, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of you should come together as a shareholding company, register as a new company with all your assets, and then go to PPC and say, we're now not just a class 1, we're a super class 1, and we have the equipment and the engineers to do bigger work. So those are the considerations going on, and the company's office is key to it, because under the procurement law now, which might change, if 3 of you, 4 of you come into a consortium to bid, the rules say that each one must be able to qualify on its own. So what's the point? So we had a Jamaican company who was linking with a British company to enter one of the programs that we have. And that's what they were told, because that's the rule. So that rule has to be looked at, but also companies have to come together and stop being the owner of sometimes a big grape, but become owner of a big size of a melon, which big melons come from St. Elizabeth. Next.
One more online, Minister.
And so I have from Mr. Luke Douglas from the Gleaner Online. He has asked, as much as new companies are being registered, does the COJ monitor those that have become dormant and are no longer in operation?
Okay, so that's excellent. So, in regard to, as the COJ strengthens its anti-money laundering framework, we monitor both active and inactive companies. And as such, in very short order, we are going to be doing a massive cleanup of our registers, because some dormant companies, one, we are finding that even though they don't make returns, they don't have an actual office that they operate from, some of them might have property. And so we're cooperating with, for example, the National Land Agency, because these dormant companies, they are a gateway for fraud to be committed. So there are persons who find out that the companies are dormant, make certain changes, they take people's property, etc. So we monitor both dormant and active, and we are working with other partners in that effort.
What Shelley is talking about is what the banks have always known. Frauds in bank almost invariably, not exclusively, but almost invariably happen in dormant accounts. When I ran banks, whether it was in Oman or here in Jamaica or elsewhere, we always insist that the auditors must go through. Now the auditors insist, we used to, but now they do. They have to go through the dormant accounts, because that's where frauds tend to originate. So it's very important that COJ is going down that road as well.
All right, Minister, I think we've had a fulsome morning. You
No, I see
another hand.
I see hands going up there.
Morning, Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. Spoke earlier about. Oh, I should stand up. Morning, Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. You were speaking earlier about the companies that had registered and the areas in which you are seeing a lot of companies come from. In terms of, are there any areas that you don't see a lot from that you wish you'd see more of?
While she thinks, I can tell you, I think I would like to see a lot more from entertainment.
Creative industry.
The entertainment and the creative industries don't see the relevant. I see Lily Claire, who heads up the Jamaican Information, Intellectual Property Office, bowing her head, because she wants them registered in Jaipur as well, because that's how they get their content protected. And they don't understand the importance of registering your content with another of our agencies, Jaipur, and then registering a company to protect your activities. So that's one area, and I know Minister Grange shares that view, and we wish that we'd have a lot more people from the entertainment business coming in to register. We see a lot of entrepreneurs from the MSMEs registering. They make castor oil, they make hair oil, they make all kinds of stuff, and they're registering their because we're out there with them, and many of them, when we go on the roadshow, they come right to the company's office and register right there at the roadshow. So that's the area here, and I think maybe people in your business might need to who create content, which is again in the creative area, need to consider setting up registering with Jaipur and setting up companies.
Minister, if I could just add, formalization in general, it's one of the things that we encourage, is for companies to get registered. Clearly, if you have creative content, intellectual property, with the Intellectual Property Office as well. But there are a lot of benefits that come with formalization of your company. And that includes the fact that many of the NGOs that work and provide technical assistance, financial assistance, they require you to be a registered company.
Yes.
Going to the bank to get a loan, dealing with any lending institution, invariably they are going to require you to be a registered company. Getting the support from this ministry, we have 76 services that we as a ministry and our portfolio agencies
Go to the website. Make sure you tell them
provide
for me, PS.
for companies. Invariably, whether it's within our portfolio, it's Heart Trust NTA, it's Scientific Research Council, you need to be a registered company. We do have a little bit of variation where if you're not registered, we will see how we can help you to develop the business
JBDC
and
does that.
at JBDC and get you registered. But it's very important to register your company, because once you do that, many opportunities become available to you in terms of technical assistance, abilities to get financing, that kind of thing. So generally, we are encouraging businesses to register their company.
Thank you. And I guess my second question to the minister would be, Delano Seabright is now your state minister in terms of this ministry. And when I spoke to him during the swearing in, he was saying that there's a lot of experience that he's garnered from the tourism sector that he believes he can input into this new role that he has in your ministry. In terms of the link between the business ministry and the tourism ministry, are there any opportunities that you see forming out in these next 5 years?
Well, I'm not the only one who sees it. The Prime Minister has instructed ministers, Ed Bartlett, Floyd Green, and myself, to make sure we find the pathway to produce a lot more Jamaican products. I mean, we have 4.5 million or so tourists coming here. We spend that. Must be $1 billion or close to it, buying food to feed them. And there's a reason for that. We have been a trading country. We were set up in times past to make sure we provide raw materials for the colonial power. That has continued. Now you see Jamaican companies for the first time are investing a great deal of money. Last year I saw Wisynco invested $11.3 billion. They never invested so much money at any one time in the past. Jamaicans have to now see that there is real opportunity in agriculture, and the market is here. We have the market. All the Spanish hotels, whoever else own hotels on the North Coast, they're all there. We have, 33 or so thousand rooms at the moment. We're building another 10,000 in the next 3 to 5 years. So the market is there. What we need to do, and the government again is partnering. We just, I was beneficial when I worked in the Prime Minister's office to get the French government to do a study of the water irrigation requirements of South St. Elizabeth, and we're now at the stage where we're going to spend about $150 million. That's about 26 billion Jamaican dollars. Where the Prime Minister opened it just before, just 2 months or so ago. And that is now going to water 4,000 hectares, which in Jamaican terms is about 10,000 acres of land. Pumping the water from the Black River using solar. Jamaica, that part of Jamaica and southern Clarendon and southern St. Catherine have the highest global horizontal irradiance in Jamaica. That's how you tend to measure how much solar power you can get. So because Treasure Beach is hot, and it's hot all the time. All when soon after the rain comes, it's hot again. So they're going to have solar power pumping the water to 3 different levels of reservoirs up the Santa Cruz Mountain. And then gravity feed it to Treasure Beach, gravity feed it to Top Hill, Flagaman, and so on, so that there is always irrigation. Irrigation means you can now put in covered agriculture. That means you can have products consistently. The hotels, rightly, very often say that we cannot get the consistency of supply. You get lettuce now, and the rain came and it stopped, and you can't get in the lettuce. Well, you can't tell the lady who came from Indiana to have a good time that you don't have lettuce for her breakfast or lunch. So they have to import it. So we are making the investment as government, as partners, and inviting. We had the Agriculture Investment Forum where Minister Green and myself spoke last Friday, to invite investors, local first and foreign investors, because what happens, Mahiri, I don't want to hear that, you know, you see that man, Auburn Hill, maybe not now in government, him and Floyd, who probably still is in government, and the Prime Minister give away the land them to the foreigners. So when you come, set up companies with COJ, get your friends together. The limited liability company is, in my view, one of the best inventions of Western capitalism. It allows you to bring in money, bring in idea, bring in management, and at the same time limit your liability. What better could you want? Get to the company's office of Jamaica, Mahiri, you and your friends.
Yes, Minister, one of the things...
Wait for the microphone.
Minister, one of the things you've constantly stressed is the importance of exports in growing the economy. Now you're back as minister and the government is in for another term. What do you, or how do you want to spur that growth? I mean, you've insisted on it, and you've also insisted, one of the things you always said was that where our populations are small, you can't really grow with a population of just 3 million. You've got to look outward. You've said it consistently. But what do you want to do now to ensure that you can really put your foot on the accelerator in that regard?
Al is not my friend, but I didn't pay him for that question. But I love the question. Well, Al has said it clearly. We are not going to get rich selling to 3 million people who have a per capita GDP of 7,000 or just below. When you look at Cayman, for instance, Cayman has a very high per capita GDP. Bermuda has maybe the third or so highest per capita GDP in the world if it was assessed as an independent country, which it's not. It's 125,000 US dollars thereabout. Them no have no yam, them no have no mango, them no have no tomatoes. By much they might grow some in them flower pots. You know what they do, Al? They do what we have not done for a long time, which we are about to do. We're going to elevate our services. We've learned a great deal from the BPO service. Okay, but when you go to the British Virgin Islands, the lawyers and the accountants are very often Jamaicans. You go to Cayman and Turks and Caicos. Bahamas, many of them sometimes are Jamaicans. We didn't provide them with the legal ecosystem to make sure our financial services business grow. Well, Minister Williams just changed the trust law, which I carried through the Senate. We have just changed the segregated accounts law. We're in the process now, waiting. The BOJ is coming back to us on the partnership accounts. There are two kinds, general and what's the other one? General unlimited liability partnerships. All that is being put in place so that we can now become a really good high-level services sector. Why? Because lawyers and banks and rich people pay for that service. They want your trust. Jamaica is now very trustworthy. FATF is in place. You can transfer money anywhere. This is a place of growth for us. The other place that the Prime Minister has talked about so often is a logistics hub. I'm going on a trade mission in Asia soon, and part of that is to make sure we're looking investors to come and invest, but also the tariff and visa arrangements that are being changed so dramatically in the world. In every time there's an issue, you have to look for the opportunities. There are opportunities there for us. We are very close to the biggest market in the world. We are inviting people to set up Jamaican companies in Jamaica and make things and export from here. So those are the areas. And of course, the Prime Minister is right. The biggest export market is right here in Jamaica. It's called the hospitality business, the hotel business, which is why he's pushing Floyd and Ed and myself to make sure we make it work for us so that the hotels who are here, it will be better if we have consistent supply at a reasonable price to buy from us. but we have to make sure we produce. So we have a range of services that we're looking at. Tourism right now is the one strong product. It's always risky when all your eggs are in one basket. And so we have to look at those other areas to grow. Agriculture is probably the first, because training and getting the people in place and inviting people and they get the confidence to come here will take some time. But in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we must be a major service area for the wealthy and for the people who need that kind of service.
And a final question from online for our panelists. Luke Douglas from The Gleaner. Can you comment on how the NSIPP registry is working? How active is it?
All right, so in terms of the national security interest in personal property registry, it's highly utilized by the micro creditors and the traditional financial institutions. They also use it a lot in terms of especially liens on motor vehicles. We do, however, see a wide variety of personal property that is now being pledged. So we have, for example, from the Development Bank, other agencies like that, we have agricultural loans, we have receivables financing, we have intellectual property to a minor degree, but we do have those. And so there is, that registry, it has been used vibrantly, and with the changes to the law that we are now looking at, that will further promulgate the use of that registry.
That's under the SIPA legislation that we initiated in this ministry, got it through, it's now through the Joint Select Committee. It's going to Cabinet, I think, for final approval, and then the law will be promulgated, going through from here into the Senate, and then State Minister Delano Seabright will take it to the lower house. I want to mention that, you know, you raised Delano. Delano clearly has had lots of experience with tourism and business, and he has been tutored by one of Jamaica's best ministers for a long time. I've known him for a long time. We had a wonderful meeting here yesterday, he and the PS and myself. I don't have to explain anything to Delano. Delano understands what has to do. Delano served on Jumper. I kept him on the Jumper board. He served on the Trade Board, another one of our agencies. So he understands what has to be done. He understands as well where we want to go, because he has heard the same message that you just repeated. And there is no question that when we become rich, it will be because we have decided that we're going to export a lot more of what we do and look for markets to do it, and we're going to continue to look for markets.
All right. Minister, I think if there are no other questions in the room, we can say thank you to everyone who is here this morning, the media houses that are on premises here at the Business Ministry, as well as all of the media houses online as well. Minister has given you a lot of information this morning. Ms. Leona has clarified and provided a lot of information as well. We as the Business Ministry look forward to continuing to work along with Media Minister to keep them up to date as we move forward with the work that we have to do. So let me thank you all very much for being here with us this morning again. Thank you.
Thank you. It will be transparent and often as we must make it known. And you contact us if you have things that you need to ask, and we know the answers. We'll answer them. Thank you so much for coming.